There is serious tension in the country. There is serious hunger and starvation. People are dying in the hospital. People are dying at home because of the lack of food. A lot of Nigerians has huge amount of money deposited in the bank, and they cannot access this their hard-earned money either through the ATM machine or in the banking hall at the counter. This is a serious disservice to the nation by those who are on the authority and the governor of Central Bank. And I want to remind the Supreme Court of Nigeria today resumed sitting on the suit filed by the governor of Kogi State, Kaduna State, and Zamfara State. And it was adjourned to 22 February 2023. The Supreme Court granted an order directing the Central Bank and the governor of Central Bank and the federal government that the denomination of 200 Naira notes, 500 Naira note, 1,000 Naira note, all currency is still served as a legal tender, pending the termination of the suit filed against the governor of Central Bank. Now, the question for determination here. Supreme Court, in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is the apex court of the land. Going by Nigerian Constitution, nobody is above the law, including Mr. President. It is the duty of every Nigerians and the people in the authority to respect the rule of law in the land. But now, what we're experiencing in Nigeria, Emi Pele and the Central Bank have now demonstrated clearly they are above the law of the land. Most of the commercial banks across the country have banned the collation of all currency note in the banking hall since 10 February 2023. Most of the shops, supermarket, petty traders have completely rejected the collection of the old currency note as a legal tender cut across the 36 states of the Federation. So, this is a serious invitation to anarchy. This is a serious invitation to against the rule of law. And this is a serious invitation to violence and chaos. When the people in the authority and the apex court of the land granted an order and they go ahead to disobey the order of the court, it's an apparent disregard to the rule of law. It's an apparent disregard to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the democratic governance. I call on the Mr. President, who is the Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and also the Attorney General of the Federation, to direct the Governor of Central Bank to abide by the decision of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. There is serious tension in the country. There is serious hunger and starvation. People are dying in the hospital. People are dying at home because of the lack of food. A lot of Nigerians has huge amount of money deposited in the bank, and they cannot access this their hard-earned money either through the ATM machine or in the banking hall at the counter. This is a serious disservice to the nation by those who are on the authority and the governor of Central Bank. And I want to remind Mr. President, this is a civil rule. He must abide by the yearning and aspiration of the people. Mr. President should know that he's from the northern region of this country. Going by the statistics and the 1991 population census, North has higher number of population than in the southern part of this country. North has over 60% of the total population in Nigeria, and is from the northern extraction. Most of the suffering are going down to the grassroots and to the masses of this country, and most especially the northerners, who have the higher population density as a country. And the northern part of Nigeria also has over 660,000 square kilometer. That is the total land mass. And living up the southern part of the country with a less than 300,000 square meter. So if you look at this suffering, it's a deliberate attempt to artificially import poverty in the north, to artificially cause hunger and starvation and poverty in the north. I call on Mr. President to fear God, and he knows that he has less than 4 months to leave office, that he should not allow the bad history to remember him. The issue of Naira design policy, nobody is disputing it if you wish this country well. But there's no reason why should the governor of Central Bank introduce this policy just to inflict or to impact the average Nigerian with hunger and poverty. The old Naira note has ceased to be a legal tender, but the new Naira note also are not in circulation. Average Nigerian cannot feed himself. If they have any dispute within themselves, that is the cabals and those who are aspiring to contest for presidency, they should not use it as a yardstick to punish an ordinary Nigerian. If they don't want Bola Ahmed Tinubu to become the president of Nigeria, if the cabals, as it was alleged, they are partying him, why do they allow him to emerge during the party primaries? And now, because of their political disagreement, political enmity, and they want to use it, use this foil scarcity and Naira scarcity to punish an ordinary Nigeria because of their selfish and personal interest. This is a wake-up call for Nigerians, those who are in the authority of power, to know that God will ask them at the end of their tenure in office or in the last day of judgment. I still call Mr. President to fear God and make sure that he called the governor of Central Bank and the managing director of NNPC to make fuel available, and the governor of Central Bank to make Naira available, so that the people will have access to their funds deposited in the bank. Thank you.